I was 13 years old when MacDermot first came into our family's life. He arrived in the parish and came to visit the family, which wouldn't be unusual to have a visit from a priest initially. My parents felt very honoured. He then started offering to take my parents and me out socially, so the relationship evolved into certainly much more than having a priest visit your home. And it would get to the stage where my parents would be getting ready to go to bed and would just say good night and leave us there because it would be considered very rude to ask a guest to leave the house. So the visits became more and more frequent, with him arriving later and later into the evening, which then obviously gave opportunity for us to be together alone in my parents' house. He made me feel quite special. He was paying me a lot of attention. I felt flattered. I was very naive. I was very young. I had never had a boyfriend. It allowed me to do things I wasn't allowed to do under the pretense, as it turned out, that he would be looking after me. He gained everyone's trust, and we all were flattered and taken in by his charisma. It had totally just started from joking around, laughing around, and him tickling me in front of my parents, and it was all a joke. And then maybe his hand would just stay that little bit longer, and within the tickling it would be somewhere a little bit more inappropriate. That then evolved. He would be next to me on the sofa with my parents in the room, and the physical contact started then. With my parents present, it was all hidden in plain sight. I think looking back, it was very clever, but it was all covert. It was then creating a secret, I guess. It worked out I didn't have the maturity. I wasn't going to stop it. And as I said, I was flattered. I was just out of my depth. I was a child when this had gone on. Didn't want him to get him into trouble. I decided, having realised through various things, that I wanted to deal with this, so I actually wrote to him asking for an apology, and that letter went to the church, who then I met up with, and that was the first time I had ever spoken to anyone about what had gone on. It was very daunting. I was terrified. I hadn't told my husband, I hadn't told any of my family. That was the first time I had ever said it. 14, 15 years later, I was contacted by Thames Valley Police because another victim had reported it to them, and I had been named as one of those people. I was absolutely shocked at the grooming and manipulative character and behaviour. It is something that I need to confront rather than be put away, shelved away, which I had so successfully done for very many years. The fact that there are numerous people is an indication of his dreadful, deliberate setting out to groom parents, family, siblings, and the person and manipulate them. These were children. I believe and hope that people would have this strength to come forward. It has been very traumatic, but I think it is something that has to be done. I don't believe that people should be allowed to get away with things, no matter how long ago, for people to be aware. And even though it's the most traumatic thing I've had to do, people should, if they feel able, come forward and not allow historic abuse, however long ago, 5, 10, 40 years, to be allowed to go unchecked and allow these people to get away with serial abusive behaviour, of which they were so good at doing.